is Dr. Chuck Ribley. There are certain people in the profession that are truly legends and leaders, people that literally walk their talk. You can always tell a doctor that really walks their talk, somebody that's been living the chiropractic principle by their own children. And here's a doctor who has 9 chiropractors in his own family. But it's interesting, all the chiropractors in his family that are his children, if you see how they're living their lives, if you see how they're raising their children, it's really a reflection of the parents and how they've been living their life. That's like the truest test. So he's really been a phenomenal leader in chiropractic. He graduated from Palmer College in 1960. He's been in chiropractic practice for 41 years and still practices today. He quickly built his practice to 300 to 400 patient visits daily. That's daily. And maintained that level for years and years and years. He's co-founder of Life Chiropractic University. He also is founder of the Michigan State Chiropractic Council. It's one of the largest, most active chiropractic state associations in the country. He also served on the Michigan State Chiropractic Board for 10 years. He's been a speaker at DE for over 30 years. You know, B.J. Palmer said that the true test of a chiropractor would be that if there was only one chiropractor left on the face of the earth, could that chiropractor, that one chiropractor, allow chiropractic to still survive? I believe that Chuck Ribley, Dr. Chuck Ribley, and by the way, his friends know him as River, would be able to withstand that test because he's that kind of a man. He carries that kind of soul, that kind of purpose for chiropractic. So please give a huge welcome to Dr. Charles Chuck River Ribley.
The power that made the body heals the body. It doesn't happen any other way. Question. How many of you believe the body has the ability to heal itself? Okay. Now, I'm going to say this one more time. The power. I want you to read my lips. The power. I'm going to now give you a little hint, and I want you to focus on the second word. The power that made the body heals the body. Does it happen any other way? Huh? What and can the body do in a healing process without the power? Nothing. Like this might go back a couple years ago, but maybe some of you might remember in chiropractic we had a tape going around. Dead doctors don't lie or die or whatever it was. But this was a veterinarian that was sending out a tape because he got so excited that if you drink this colloidal mineral suspension of dirt, you'd be healthy. And I said, I had at least 150 chiropractors send me this tape, and I couldn't imagine why are people getting excited about dirt. I think you'd be excited about power. Because the power is what takes this dirt and makes it into walking, talking flesh and blood. Dirt on itself does nothing. Do you have the power? Now, we just lit up the world. This is about the safest environment you'll have to speak right now because, we're all in chiropractic. Do you have the power? Yeah! Hey, life is energy. We have dreamers in this room. Huh? Do we have any dreamers? Raise your hand if you're a dreamer. Did you ever notice in chiropractic, we got a lot of people that got nightmares and they keep trying to suck us into their nightmares? We maybe need to go out and adjust a few chiropractors and get out on this nightmare that they're having, get them back into being a dreamer. I can remember maybe 20 years ago, I wrote an article about and sent it out to the profession. All of a sudden, I got my name in the Dynamic Chiropractor. It says, that Ribley, the problem with him is he's an idealist. He needs to face reality and see life the way it is. Then I saw the man on Mancha that says, what is insanity? Maybe insanity is when you see life as it is instead of as it should be. Thank God in 1895, D.D. Palmer discovered a new principle, didn't he? What did he say to the world when they said, you can't do that? What did he say to the world? He said, oh, I was just fixing my hair because I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. And what did the world have to do all of a sudden when D.D. Palmer says, hey, I'm not going away. My dream's going to unfold. Well, we're in the room here today. All of us are here because 100 years ago, one man said, hey, I'm going for it. I found something. Isn't chiropractic exciting? Yeah, like, I'm so excited I'm a chiropractor. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he went and took Jen Temple's program a couple years ago, and he came back and says, I was in a tree, and I was swinging from this thing, and he came back and he says, I'm so excited. I said, you're so excited? Yeah, I'm so excited about chiropractic now. I said, God, I wake up that way every morning. I mean, like, wait, you don't have to hang from a tree. Maybe you might need to hang from a tree to realize that you can go for something, but excitement about chiropractic. You know, the greatest thing in chiropractic, and it's like, I remember years ago we used to do student recruitment programs in our home, and we'd have 200 people come to the home. Like, we didn't say, you need to come down here about chiropractic. It's a great way of cracking bones. We'd say, hey, you need to come down to our home. We want to turn you into a chiropractor. You know what a chiropractor does? It turns on the power. That reminds me of something. I was at a chiropractic meeting, and a good friend of mine, Keith Khalil, was telling a story about, he takes the little children and he says, hey, you know what I teach them? I teach them when they have a subluxation, it does what? He says it turns off the power. Then I teach them when I ask them, I said, what's the adjustment do? It turns on the power. And I thought, gee, he's telling that to little children. I think we'll use that when we go out and talk to chiropractors. Can you imagine if we ever got chiropractors to understand subluxations turn off the power? Adjustments turn on the power. And so we've got this down. It's so easy in our office anymore because you don't have to give lectures anymore. You don't have to give any kind of reports. You have to talk to a patient. They walk in your office and say, hey, you got a health problem? Well, what we're going to do here is find out where your power shut off. That's called a vertebral subluxation. And what we're going to do when we find that, we're going to give you an adjustment that's going to turn on the power. Okay? Now you've done the whole program. You check to find out where the power shut off. You find it. And then you make the adjustment, turn on the power. So we have everybody come down. We want everybody to come down. Come on, you need to come in here. We're going to explain you. We're going to give you a chiropractic lecture. How much time will I need for this chiropractic lecture? Well, you're going to probably need 30 seconds for it, but you need to come down. We're going to explain chiropractic. I have associates come in my office, and when they explain chiropractic, I don't even know what it is when they finally get finished. You know, finally I walk into the associates. I says, hey, please, would you shut your mouth? I'm going to have the CA give the story. The CA comes in and says, your power shut off. You have a subluxation. What we're going to do is give you an adjustment. The power's going to be turned back on. There's nothing else to do. You know, have you ever given instructions to somebody and said, would you go in the room and turn on the light? Now, normally you say, I want you to go in the room. I want you to understand there's a generator going on there. It's running over there by Niagara Falls. And the Hoover Dam, so the water's going over. The turbines are turning like this. The turbines, the power's going across the wire. It comes in, it gets into the generator. It cranks it up, it cranks it up. It's got a high voltage power, and it goes over there. And by the time you're finished explaining electricity and how it's made and what happens and how it's going to get through the little wire, and did they use copper or aluminum wire? I have no idea. The switch was a mercury switch, was a toggle switch. And then the person goes, what am I supposed to do when I go to that room now? So when a patient comes in the office, what do you want to get across to them? You want to tell them about all the physiology. You want to talk about all the degeneration that takes place. And you got little lips sticking off here. The patient has no idea what you're talking about. I remember one time listening to Jimmy Parker talk, and he says, he was showing an x-ray, and he went through the whole thing. And he's got the atlas there, and and the patient walks in. Are those my kidneys, the lateral masses? That's as much as the patient has no idea what you're talking about. If you ever just said, hey, your power shut off, subluxation, what we're going to do? Give you an adjustment. Turn on the power. If you can knock that one thought into a patient from now on, every time they come in the office, that's the chiropractic story. Interesting, I said, power. What's the major premise of chiropractic? Major premise of chiropractic. Universal intelligence in all matter. Continually giving to it all its properties and actions, thus maintaining existence. Okay, I memorized it, and so what? Listen, that's all you need to know. There's a power that animates the universe. I can remember years ago, BJ had this little thing that says, one cause, one correction, one cure. And all the chiropractors running around said, God, so, BJ, he's saying he can cure everything. There's only one cause of disease and all this kind of stuff. It's like their minds were so small, they never understood what BJ was talking about. BJ says, we're beyond the cause of disease. BJ's talking about there's only but one cause. The primordial cause behind all things. There's only but one power that animates the universe. That's one cause. There's only one correction, and that's to allow this cause to be unimpeded and flow through the body, through to the tissue cells. There's only but one cure, and that's the power of innate divinity of God within. How could you go wrong with that? Where's the problem? If you could take that in your heart and say, hey, that's how I live my life. It was interesting. They said I graduated in 1960. I bought the program in chiropractic because I never went to a chiropractor a day in my life. And my mother went to a chiropractor. They just knew that they felt better. They never took us kids in. All I heard all my life is my dad says, you need to become a chiropractor. I had no idea why. He says, you need to become a chiropractor. And I went away to the monastery for a while. I got out of the monastery and I came back. I quit the monastery because there was no girls there. It's like, I like what Reverend Schuler was talking about here today. He says, you should go after what God made for you. I thought God made women for me and I wasn't finding them there. So anyways, keeping things, I was searching around, and I was in 11th grade, I sent my application away to Palmer to become a chiropractor. He says, well, I guess I'm going to become a chiropractor. I have no idea what. But interesting enough, I went to Palmer when I was 17 years of age. This is in the 50s. I didn't have to have any basket weaving courses and art classes and all this stuff that you learn in junior college and stuff, and then into physics and biochem and bacteriology and whatever else they make you learn before you can decide to become a chiropractor or something. Isn't it ridiculous, the programs that we have to study so that we can practice chiropractic? It's like, I want to be a chiropractor. I want to turn on the power in people. Okay, so what you need to do is learn all about garbage. You got to learn about everything else about the power. I was speaking to the first quarter class over at Life West yesterday, and it's so exciting to talk to the first quarter class because they just heard about chiropractic for the first time. This is really great. They haven't had anybody dump on them yet. After you go 2 or 3 years and you find out you got to learn all this stuff from national boards and all this stuff, it's like you're like, what was that I learned in first quarter? What was that all about? Anyways, when I got to Palmer and I sat in my first philosophy class, God, I thought I came home. It wasn't foreign. Did you have that kind of feeling when you heard about chiropractic? You said, yeah, this fits. This is kind of like right. The problem is, most of us all come into chiropractic because we got other beliefs. Oh, we got beliefs about God and this and that and medicine and everything else. And we get involved in chiropractic, and we just hate to give up our old beliefs. So if we could just change chiropractic a little bit so we don't have to make too much of a stretch and make chiropractic fit in our old beliefs, maybe that will work better. So this morning I'm listening to Schuler's talking about, I'm pumped down, inside out. It's like, wow. Can you imagine a chiropractor getting that excited about chiropractic? When's the last time you go to a meeting and there's some chiropractor getting up and says, I'm a chiropractor. There's the power comes from above down, inside out. Even a cabbage knows that. It grows from the inside out. I mean, you don't have to tell it anything. I was reading one of BJ's books. This is a little story that BJ wrote. And it was interesting because BJ's talking about innate expresses through all the tissue cells and keeps the homeostasis going. And then I started thinking, do you think that the liver has to believe in innate for it to work? So you need to check with the liver. Do you believe in innate in God? I mean, and the liver just doesn't know when it doesn't even care. Just like if innate sends some flash down it, the liver does this little thing. Start jumping around, doing what all the livers do. I don't know exactly what they do. Why would we spend so long studying what a liver does when it really doesn't matter what it's doing? Innate's already telling it what to do. I was speaking in the pediatrics class yesterday, and this is funny. It's like I said, what do you learn here? And they said, we learn development. Wow, what will that do for you? It's like, wow, you'll be able to count their fingers and toes. Can you imagine that when you have a baby and you check them over, you say, yeah, I had a pediatrics class. I'm not ratting on pediatrics in case Debbie's. Okay, now I'll go back to my point. Okay, now I'm observing this little baby. It says, wow, he's got 10 fingers and 10 toes. Look at, there's 2 eyes and 2 ears. And, like the mother of the patient say, wow, where did you learn how to do all that? And he said, well, I went to chiropractic. You understand, I've got Part 4 of the National Board. I'm certified licensed by the state of California. That's why I know that. I took this class. And what difference does it matter anyway? What if the child only had 9 fingers? Well, I'd write that in my little journal. 9 fingers. What the difference does it make? Does the child still got 9 fingers? You know? Well, I'll know about its development. Why do you care about the development? How many fingers? Well, what's development? How many tissue cells do you think the little child's got in its kidney right now? Well, we didn't study the development of the amount of tissue cells that would be in the kidney. Well, like, why would you just pick the fingers? I mean, like, are you prejudiced? Yeah, that's a... Anyways, we'll go back. I'm the type of person, if I buy something, I don't have to do anything anymore. This is great. Chiropractic works. What an easy way for life. You mean there's a power to create it? There's a power inside of me? There's a universal intelligence to create all things. And with that, as an understanding that this individualized expression, universal intelligence, which is innate, lies within, takes and uses a portion of the brain, which we don't have no idea what. It's just the innate brain, right? And it causes... Remember Stevens' book on chiropractic philosophy? It says, innate uses the innate brain. And then it says, and we don't know what the innate brain is. Now, can you imagine, here you've been studying all this to become this chiropractor, and the very basis, everything, we don't even know what innate uses or where that part of the brain is and that's doing all this, but it just keeps doing it. Maybe we're learning so much about things that don't matter, and we're learning very little about what really matters. And then we wonder why we have so much confusion. But anyways, let's go back to the story. So anyways, when I bought chiropractic, this is really great. I decided, there's an innate power. I decided eventually when I got married to my wife Ruth, I said, let's have a baby. And I trusted the process so much that copulated? How do you say this in a nice term so that people aren't offended? We did what other people do, and there was something that comes out of that, and all of a sudden, 1 and 1 becomes 3. Okay? So, I had faith that would happen, and I never went to the doctor and I said, Doctor, we've decided to do this 1 and 1 thing so that we get 3, or could be 4 or 5. But we're going to do this 1 and 1 that no longer is 2, it's 3. And I need to know how to do it so that this little dude that's swimming with these other 3 million dudes knows where to swim to find this other little cute cell they call ovum, and it will know what to do. And so anyways, I didn't have to take a class and I didn't have to go to the doctor, because if you went to the doctor, figured out, they would tell you that this little dude's going to have to swim. You can't even find a little dude anyway. So, like on a microscope, you're trying to find a thing, so where are you, so anyways, I didn't have to, I kept the faith. I don't know. Maybe you, when you had your children, you didn't keep the faith and you were really concerned if he was swimming in the right direction and everything else. But I kept the faith. They said there's a power behind all this. And so this little swim would take place and all would happen. And then it was like, can you imagine this little dude would run into this wall? And then he would think I'm going through the wall. And there's no class. The little dude never took a ropes course to know that if you go for it, you can get through the wall. It didn't have any kind of program, didn't do any firewalks, never was a Tony Robbins, knowing that you can accomplish what you want in life. It was only motivated from within, this little stuff. And he goes in, and all of a sudden, Ruth was pregnant. I said, wow, I kept the faith. I had a lot of fun, too. It was that was fun, too. See, that's what happens. You keep the faith, you have fun, too. You don't even have to worry about things. Okay. And then I watched, I said, Ruth, did you notice your waist? It's getting larger. And she didn't even think about it, but it was happening. And anyways, it was 280 days later, she says, it feels like something's going to come out of me. How many is so anyways, needless to say, we had a baby. Can you imagine, we had a baby, and there was nobody there to help the baby come out. It just, this baby came out. And I just kept the faith. I figured that innate wouldn't need any stop signs and direction signals going on, shoot on down this way, come across here, stop here, go forward, and come back, and then go through with it. I just kept the faith. That made life easy, too. And because I watch people, and it's hey, have you ever seen... this is not this guy. Probably the hardest work a woman will ever do in her life is have a baby. For you guys, if you ever want to get the feeling what it's like, I probably say, dig a ditch 4 foot deep, 50 foot long, and only use one arm. Probably your left arm of your right hand. And find out how much fun that is, And the reason I say that is because imagine the hardest work a woman will ever do in her life. She goes to a doctor and he says, hey, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. I think I'll do is paralyze you so you can't push. Well, that's really great. You're going to make it easy for me. And it's Now I can't even do what I'm supposed to be doing. You're like, that's okay, because I got these forceps, we're going to corkscrew this kid out anyway. Have you had patients say they had on the baby and the doctor had to put his feet up on the table like this and take the baby's head and yank it out? I said, my God, it really pays to learn a lot of stuff. That's what we do in chiropractic. We're trying to imitate the medical doctor. And the medical doctor goes to school for 25,000 years. That's how he learned. The best way to have babies is corkscrew them out. I mean, what else would they be learning in school? And so, I know my little granddaughter, Jade, she's like 7 years old. Every time she holds the baby, she watches its head and neck. She hadn't learned all this stuff, yet. So she just knows you got to protect its head and neck. Imagine if she went to school long enough, she learned that you can screw them all up, and it doesn't really matter because you can give them drugs when they're sick anyway. Okay. So life became very easy. I bought the program. Now, as we went through life, BJ talks about the value of chiropractic won't be known for 500 years. Because once we correct chronic subluxation, human beings, all of us, will be directed from within, and governments, religions will all fall by the wayside. And so where am I going with that? Susan, I got to tighten my shoelace. Okay, where am I going with all this? Well, this is the deal. We're living in a world that's chronically subluxated. BJ said, do we need religions? Of course we need religions to set some kind of ethical standards so we don't kill each other. Do we need medical physicians, alternate healthcare providers that acupuncture, herbology, vitamin therapy, ultrasound, and massage you? Yes, because we are subluxated and it helps relieve suffering. Now, if we stay subluxated as a species, we will continue to degenerate, right? Instead of regenerating and coming in healthier with each generation, we will break down and degenerate with each succeeding generation. And so if we lived in a paradigm that we wanted to go through life because we'll eat each other up, we draw up the 10 Commandments. We draw up laws that we can live together that were given to us from the outside in. If we take and use medications and all these various modalities to ease the suffering, we will continue to degenerate. And you can look into our world that we have today, spiritually, physically, and mentally. It is degenerating. And you, as a doctor of chiropractic, understand what Schuler was saying this morning, that all things come from above down and inside out. And you also heard Reverend Schuler talk about the fact that when he went to a chiropractor, the chiropractor administered an adjustment. And the life expressed in his children, in his wife, and within him. And homeostasis is the word he used, came back to him. And when man and woman is healthy internally, they become externally healthy. And the external world that we live in, with all its strife, with all its wars, with all the disharmony, is the result of an internal subluxation. If, from that understanding, where do we as chiropractors fit in? What do we do with this idea of chiropractic? And the reason I'm talking about this is we have a great wave going across this country of ours of alternate health care. And the chiropractors are all excited. They're talking about alternate health care. That's me. Let's change all our names of our schools to alternate health centers, where we teach everybody all the alternate programs other than drugs and surgery, such as herbology, vitamin therapy, and all this other stuff to treat the symptoms. What is chiropractic to you? Chiropractic is not an alternate health program. Chiropractic is something totally different. It's not an outside-in ideology. Chiropractic is based upon there is a power of creation. There is a power within us. It permeates through the brain, through the central nervous system, down through all the tissue cells, and allows homeostasis to exist. Now, there's many within our profession that don't buy that program. I thought it was very interesting. I was talking to my son-in-law, Bruce, yesterday about this. And the interesting thing is, chiropractic was discovered in 1895. D.D. Palmer said, this is what chiropractic is. It's not something we choose to change today. I remember in Michigan, we put out, not me, but we had chiropractors put out a letter and said, what would you like chiropractic to be? You know what an automobile is? It's got this combustion engine. It's got these 4 wheels on it and stuff, and it goes. I mean, like, you vote and say, what do we want automobiles to be today? I mean, are they going to now be airplanes? I mean, like, this is what an automobile is. This is what chiropractic is. This is what Catholicism is. This is what the Jewish faith is. Everything it's got a name, and there's something ascribed to. This is what it's about. If you don't like what chiropractic is, then why don't you just get out of the profession? That's so simple. You don't have to bastardize our profession. You know, you're not here to change it. You know, you came into chiropractic and says, hey, I understand. I buy the program there's a power that runs the universe. I buy that there's an eternal wisdom and power within that controls the physiology. Which physiology does it control? Just parts of it? Does it do it only on Tuesday? Does it do it Wednesday? Huh? It does it every day, every moment. And from an understanding, do we need other healthcare people out there the way the world is? Yes, we do. But you know, when a patient comes in my office, I don't sit down and says, I think what we need to do is find out what the subluxation, what the power was, and what I think we also do. I think that you need Jinko to whatever that's going to do, and Balboa, and maybe, you know, indoor plumbing will be good for you too. I'll be out to your house, put those plumbing in. We got to get rid of the outhouses. And maybe what we have to do is I also want to come in. I don't like the electricity. You have aluminum wires in your house. You have copper wires. I'm going to rewire your house too. I mean, there's a lot of things that are good in life. But you know what? I'm a chiropractor. I'm here to tell people and give them an understanding that, you know what? Life flows from above, down, inside out. Chiropractic deals with finding out, is there an interference to that? Removing the interference and letting that life express. I remember years ago I came out here to California at a DE meeting, and we were told, when you're in California, you got to be careful because straight chiropractic is different in California. I said, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to be interested to see what the people look like out here. And you're like, maybe they don't have spines and we adjust their ears or something. The life flows through their ears and we just twist ears around or something. I mean, like, what do you mean it's different? Is it like in California, God didn't create the universe? I know in California you kind of believe that you are special out here. You are your own universe or something. But, you know, really, you know, it's the same power that created Michigan, created California. Now, don't get mad. You know. You know, and it's the same power that's inside each and every one of us that controls our physiology. It's no different. And you know, in chiropractic, when you interfere with it, when you have a blockage, when that spine is out of alignment, causing interference to that life source, less than life comes through, the body's in the state of disorder. And then from a chiropractic point of view, if you find out where that interference is and remove it, life starts to flow back again. That's what chiropractic is about. It doesn't matter where in Michigan, California, whatever. But we can decide. We can decide, are we going to lead the world around and change it? Because you know what I'm finding? Most people don't believe in the power of the power. They do not have enough faith to recognize what an adjustment really does. Before long, you're in your office, you're cracking bones, and before, you know, it's like, we kind of lose sight how dynamic this thing is. Who's never had a shot, vaccination, aspirin in life? Please stand up so I think everybody needs to see. Okay. Okay, gang, it took 100 years to bring a room of 300 people or 400 people together. We have 4 people say they don't have a shot of vaccination aspirin in a lifetime. Doesn't that kind of like tick you off? Huh? What has happened? Well, if this is going to work perfectly, I want you. If you remember Jacob's Ladder, you know, like, I don't know who wrote Jacob's Ladder, but whoever did this must know more about chiropractic than chiropractic, you know. And I always like the scene. I'm not going to show too much, but I want to show this one scene. But I want to remark is what to me is when I was watching Jacob's Ladder, it showed, you know, like when Tim Robbins says he was in hell. He was in the medical hospital, you know, they're rolling him through the hallway, and they got these organs and stuff all over the floor and stuff. You know, this is hell. No joke. That is hell. Hell is when you take the power away. We're living in a vast world out here that the power is shut off. People are functioning in a subluxated way. We have these hospitals, and we think of all their scientific and technological advancements, and we're impressed with that stuff. That is hell. Because what that is the power's been taken away. So let's see if we can find out when Danny comes in there and sees Tim Robbins in the hospital here.
Jacob, stay up! Chloe, I'm in here! Jake! Where are you, Jake?
Can't go in there, sir. Can I help you, sir?
Jacob! God, Jake, what have they done?
Can I help you, sir? Go in there.
What is this?
I want to ask the question, how many of you have enough resolve within yourself about what chiropractic can do and how we can change the world? How many of you have enough resolve within yourself of what's happening to humanity right now by the medical profession, by this ideology of the outside in, taking over and controlling people's lives to this extent that you are willing to do something about this?
Don't touch him.
Can they call this modern medicine? This is barbaric. Barbaric!
All right, just calm down.
Why don't you just burn him at the stake and put him out of his misery? Sir, you're going to have to leave. Stay back! Don't come near me. You understand what this is? Like jail? Stay back! Take one step and I'll wrap this around your neck. Come on.
All right, calm down.
Back!
Calm down.
No, you can't do that.
All right, make sure. Yes, sir.
Now I want you to pick up this next line, and I want to know, and I want you to ask the question within yourself and what kind of answer you get. What this kind of stuff, what's existing, what it's doing to you. What do you feel about it? What would motivate you? You know what fuels your practice? Your passion. Your passion. How strongly you feel about your dream, what this is about. And I have a question, and I find it very interesting, because I've seen in the state of California we have Life West, we have Palmer West, and we have Cleveland, of a court of the same ideology. We have one other school, Los Angeles. Why does the liberal element control this profession in the state of California? Why, when we go to the state of Iowa and we have the heritage of chiropractic, the liberal element controls that state? And I think it was just last year life grads from Georgia could even get into the state of Iowa. And when we go to the state of Georgia, we have the largest Life University, which is the largest chiropractic college. Why does the liberal element control the profession in that state? And because we don't have enough resolve within ourselves, we need to get fired up at what chiropractic can do. Now watch this.
Away! I'm upset. I'm really upset.
They'll nail him at the door down.
I managed to bring this on.
Watch your toes, Jacob. Well, you've done it to yourself this time, haven't you? Am I dying, Louis? From a slip disc? That'll be a first. I was in hell. I don't want to die, Louis. Well, I'll see what I can do about it. It's all pain. Straighten out your head. Relax. You ever read Meister-Eckhart? No. How'd you get your doctorate without reading Eckhart? Relax. Okay, good. I'll turn over gently. Right side. The other right, okay? You're a regular basket case.
You're late for that one, huh?
Eckhart saw hell, too. You know what he said? He said the only thing that burns in hell is the part of you that won't let go of your life. Your memories, your attachments. They burn them all away. But they're not punishing you, he said. They're freeing your soul. Relax.
You understand when he's talking about the attachment to the physical world? I think if you come to an understanding, and we're talking about in chiropractic, we recognize the innate that's within. And BJ spent his whole life listening and talking. And if you read BJ's books, it wasn't particularly about chiropractic, it was about innate. Supplementing your life to that inner power and listening to that direction. And what holds us back is when we keep functioning in that educated mind. And when Danny's talking about this, he says we need to burn those perceptions away. We need to burn this educated mind away, because the educated mind is nothing but a tool that's here to express your internal, innate. Education doesn't control your life. Innate controls your life. Innate controls all things. And that's why BJ said the value of chiropractic will be known in 500 years. Because once the subluxation is corrected, internally we will express from within out into a world. And the world changes when the world changes in here. And so we need to it's like I'm watching a movie that's run across the country, and whoever wrote the thing is talking about a chiropractic principle, the thing that we practice in our office, and some of us are sitting in our offices and wondering, I wonder if the time's right for me to really say something yet. The time is right. This was done like 10 years ago.
Good. So the way he sees it, if you're frightened of dying and you're holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life away. But if you've made your peace, then the devils are really angels, freeing you from the earth. It's just a matter of how you look at it, that's all. So don't worry, okay? Okay? Good. Relax. 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 And wiggle your toes. Come on, wiggle your toes. Perfect. We got it. We got it. Get on your back, come on. Easy. Okay? Now let's just give it a little try. I want to see if you can stand.
By myself?
You can do it. Come on. Just give it a try, Jake. Come on. Come on. Atta boy. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hallelujah.
Is that the way you feel? Huh? I go back to yesterday when we were at the first quarter over at Life West, we were talking to philosophy. And I asked the question, how many of them were chiropractors? And we got people raising their hand that they were chiropractors. Because, you know, chiropractic, you can't learn to be a chiropractor. You don't go to chiropractic college to learn to be a chiropractor. Because chiropractic deals with an abstract. It deals with understanding there is a power within. There's a power that controls the physiology of the body. And this is something that is beyond, with your finite mind, that you can understand as this abstract. And you can go and you can learn all the classes. And we have people that became chiropractors before they went to chiropractic college. We have some that become chiropractors in school. We have people that become chiropractors 40 years after they're out in practice. What I'm asking you is to get a resolve within yourself. Because once you understand chiropractic, it doesn't matter what they tell you anymore. You're able to go through classes. You're able to go through postgraduate work. You're able to be into a state that they tell you have to learn this and do these various things. It doesn't matter. We are here to change the world. And if you think that, wow, I'm going to give up because of what, it's like I hear different things have come back and they say, well, the ICA isn't doing that. I'm just going to quit and go home. I'm going to do that. I don't like what, I'm not going to support the college because it's doing this. And it's like, if you were the last person in the world, could you say to the world, and chiropractic will unfold in the hearts and minds of the people because you're willing to step out and allow the message to spread? You know, this understanding that chiropractic has, and BJ said, chiropractic will continue on because it's based on a truth. With or without the help of a chiropractor. We have the opportunity to make a choice that we can be part of the unfoldment of this principle. But this innate understanding right now is unfolding in the hearts and minds of every single individual in the world right now. 6 billion people. It's unfolding in the hearts and minds right now. And our job as a chiropractor is to have enough passion, enough commitment to go out in the world and share this understanding. Enough commitment to reach out and touch those people, to make that adjustment so they can express internal health, which will bring about an external world of peace and harmony. Hey, I'd like to see what happens over the next 2,000 years if we as chiropractors decide to commit our life and go on a crusade. It was interesting. This is San Francisco. This is a big gay community. And we think that the gay community has been working to get acceptance. And then sometimes we in chiropractic believe, wow, well, we've really grown along and we've come to acceptance. And it was an interesting thing I thought was a little twist here, because I was in Michigan talking, a month ago, and Vermont was going through a program, and they were attempting, the Board of Examiners were passing rules that in your daily notes that you had to do orthopedic, neurological, and all these medical testings, and it has to be on every single patient. It has to show up in all your notes, and you can't take any postgraduate work in philosophy or any of the chiropractic technique programs. All of it has to be in other allied medical fields and things like this. And I'm thinking, here, in the state of Vermont, they just passed a law that they're recognizing same-sex relationship, marriage-type things, yet the chiropractic is being thrown out. And the thought that struck me, well, maybe what we need to do as chiropractors is do what the gay community did. We need to come out of the closet as a chiropractor. Maybe we need to come out of the closet. You know what we're about? We recognize there's an innate power. There's an inner power within us. We're about the fact that if you allow that power to express, homeostasis come back, and this world is going to change. We're about religions, governments, all this stuff's going to fall by the wayside once we make a chiropractic adjustment. And you know what? I don't care what you think. That's what we're about. And you know what? We're moving ahead. You can't pass a law. You can put us in jail. You know that. We are going to move ahead because we have a resolve within ourselves to change the world. My challenge is to you. Do you want to do that? On tomorrow, we're going to get into quantum physics, and we'll start talking about how we really can get moving with the program. We got everything on our side. Quantum physics is all about above, down, inside, out. And so if we start tapping into our available available things that will allow us to unfold, it'll unfold. We have the right to make a choice. But somewhere along, we need to start coming out of the closet and say, hey, I'm a chiropractor. Okay, just before we wrap up, I want you to listen to these words here, this music. I came across this about a couple weeks ago. I thought this was really neat.
If you want to be a champion, if you want to win and win big, there's a price. You got to sell out.
You got to sell out to those old beliefs, that limitation. What is that higher power in chiropractic that we sell out to? We sell out to innate. And when Fred Barge was up here this morning, he talked about burning out. When you function from the educated, you will burn out. When you function from the innate, you will never, ever burn out. Because innate is eternal, immortal, and universal. Love you all. Thanks.